What up, YouTube? It's your boy Bobby B. I'm back again with another video. Thanks again for all my subscribers. Thanks for sharing and liking my videos. Thanks for keeping up. Be sure you do go and like this video, share, subscribe, comment. I do appreciate all the love and the participation. Today I bring you a video on my coming out story. This is me, giving more about myself, letting you all a little more into who I am. So here we go. Okay, so first and foremost, I do identify as queer. I identify with the LGBTQIAA LMNOP spectrum. I live my life as a homosexual man, and I am openly bisexual. And I think with my whole exploration of discovering who I am, it's been a long journey coming to those terms of being able to say those type of words, being able to at least label them at the very minimum, being able to like confront and say this is what I'm feeling and this is what's matching up to those words, yada yada yada. Early on, my mom told me a story about when I was younger. When I was about 3 years old, I asked her why was I not a girl, and I struggled with that concept when I was maybe like in high school, college times. I know for a fact now I definitely don't want to transition or don't want to be no girl, but it was just a difficult time of just trying to understand what I was feeling and what was going on in my head. Initially, I guess you can say, when I finally had the conversation to say to my parents or to my family that yes, I do have interest or feelings towards men or to the same sex. It was funny. I think I was at least in high school. It had to be my junior year of high school. And my mom told me that my older brother wanted to talk to me. And I'm like, okay. And not saying I don't have no like great relationship with my brothers, or my siblings for that matter, but like we don't really just like talk or like hang out or kick it, stuff like that. We didn't grow up together. When we grew up, they were older and I was younger, and then when I grew up with my younger brothers and sisters, like I was the eldest and they were young. So it was, our dynamic of our family is very non-traditional. So I had to be in high school, and my mama like, your brother want to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, what could he possibly want to talk to me about? I don't talk to that boy. I don't talk to that man. So she like, he upstairs, and at the time I think that was my parents' room at the time. So she like, yeah, he upstairs, he want to talk to you. I'm like, okay. So I go upstairs and I'm talk to my brother. I'm like, what's up? He like, yeah, mama said she want me to talk to you. I'm like, well, she just told me you wanted to talk to me. So now I'm feeling like, now there's a setup. Something's happening. What's going on? What do you guys want? He like, your mom want to know, like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, what you mean what's going on with me? He like, well, you have a guy friend, and they want to know like who's your little friend or whatever. And I'm like, alright, now I see where this is going. And I'm just like, yeah. And he like, yeah, what? And I'm like, yeah, we're dating. That's my boyfriend. And he was like, okay, so alright. I'm like, yep. He was like, alright, cool, sounds good. And that was the end of the conversation. And that was just it. And then later on, I want to say when I was in college, I was able to like really talk to my parents about it. And they said that apparently my mom never talked to my dad about my boyfriend at the time, or told my dad that that was my boyfriend. Just my mom and my brother knew. And the only reason that everybody, this is kind of like most, I feel like gay people can attest to your parents to say like they know about their kid. Like if you know that's their child, they know from beginning. Um, that they always knew that there was something. Like I said, when I was 3, I had that incident. You know what I mean? If you want to go back even further, or not further, you want to keep going back with the past history or whatever. My parents were heavily into the church at one point, and you know, with me being so feminine and not wanting to play with the boys and stuff like that, that started to turn into more of a spiritual thing of them saying that there was this in its plainest sense, they called it a gay demon. So I had to get rid of this gay demon. So they would, you know, take me. I was at church Wednesday night, Friday. We went to church. We was at church Sunday. What was it, Monday? We was in church all the time. We would have church at home with Bible study. And I got all of these different pastors from all over the country and all these different ministers, you know, laying their hands on me and praying over me and casting this devil out of me. So there was a point in time where I looked at myself in the mirror to try to understand, with the battle of religion of, you know, I go to church, I pay my tithe. I don't even have no money, and I'm a kid paying tithe with my little allowance or whatever. I get good grades. I'm responsible. You know what I mean? I'm all these things, but if you want to say what's bad about me, it's the fact that I'm apparently there's a gay demon inside of me. So I'm just trying to understand what is wrong with me. Why is there something, you know what I mean? My parents always felt like everybody has a struggle, everybody has a battle, and I guess my battle was homosexuality. So I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with me and why can't I just be normal and why can't I just, you know, like girls. And it wasn't that I didn't like girls. I guess I felt a stronger connection or a stronger emotion towards boys. So when I was trying to figure this all out, I just I came to myself and I said, I'm not going to battle with this. This is not a struggle. Because, you know, I felt like this was, at one point in time, this was a struggle that my parents placed upon me. And I always struggle with it personally, and now they're adding another layer to it to say that there's more going on. And I'm just trying to understand, because I don't think that God would make such a talented, loving, caring, good-looking young man and tell me that everything's fine with you except this one thing. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm just, I gave it all up. I'm like, you know what? Let that be your struggle. That's the thing that y'all have to deal with. But I'm not going to fight myself. I'm not going to live in constant turmoil and constant struggle and tug of war and battle of who I am and who I want to be. I just came to terms with myself to say that if God or whoever we choose to serve loves me enough to, I guess, give me this burden, he wouldn't have made me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be as great as I am. So I use that as fuel. I use that as my armor to just take more pride in just accepting the facts. You know, I'm not. These are the facts, and facts are facts, and I'm okay with who I am. It's the fact that everybody else had to come to terms with being okay with it. And I was okay with, you know, them taking their journey into understanding who I was, because I needed to take time to figure out who I was too. So, once I had that conversation with them, everything was fine. They were cool with, you know, I guess my first boyfriend. Even though I never ever had guy friends, once he started coming around, they knew. I introduced him as my friend, but eventually they caught on and they like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. He's a nice guy. He's definitely a gentleman. Has his head on his shoulders, whatever. And then once I got to college, you honestly can't tell me anything now. You know, I'm out here, I'm drinking, I'm lit. You know, it's party season. So once I got into my next relationship, it was obviously completely okay. So now I'm an adult. Clearly, I'm in my late 20s, and I feel more comfortable in my skin. I'm still exploring who I am and understanding who I want to be and who I want to project myself as, because I want to be my most authentic self. I want to also be used as a vessel so that I can, you know, hopefully allow someone else to live through my story or my struggle and not make the same mistakes that I'd made, or, you know, maybe learn from some of the things that I've done. So in my exploration of figuring out who I am and discovering my sexuality, it definitely intersected with my religion and crossed those paths of wanting to question a higher power or a higher being because of what religion deems that is or sexuality is. But I'm comfortable enough to say that the person that or the higher power I choose to serve is not going to burden me. You know what I mean? In a sense of saying who you choose to love, and love is supposed to be a pure, you know, sacred type of thing. Wouldn't, you know, give me this to say that that's what makes you bad or that's what's negative about you, because I have so many great things that about me that my sexuality is probably the last thing that matters, because unless you are in a relationship with me or you're sleeping with me, that has nothing to do with the person that I am. I did struggle a lot with masculinity and femininity. I had to come to terms to understand that that does not define gender. Just because I showed more feminine traits does not make me less of a man. Because I wasn't as masculine as I would like to be, doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm a girl. So I had to come to these understandings of these intersectionalities of who I was and be okay with that. You know, I still struggle every day with opening up and being comfortable in my skin. It's a constant journey. I'm never gonna say that I'm completely okay with who I am or I'm 100% comfortable in my skin, because that would be a lie. Because I want to be 100% me, and I'm still working on that. I'm still discovering, you know, who that person is. But I think as long as I remain honest and genuine, the pieces will fall. You know what I mean? Everything will fall where it needs to be. Um, I hope that anyone else who is struggling with their sexuality or maybe trying to discover themselves of, you know, maybe femininity or trying to understand what those guidelines may be for them, I would suggest to create your own boundaries, create your own spectrum, because the only person that has to live with you or has to be defined by you is you. So to take on, you know, everyone else's ideology and their characteristics to what makes up a good person or what makes up who you are is hearsay, because that ain't that nothing of what anybody else says about who I am makes me who I am. I dictate who I am. I choose to be who I say I am, and nobody has to walk in my shoes. Nobody has to live my life. So if I say that yes, I am gay, but I also identify as bisexual, that is not for you to question. You know what I mean? You don't have to understand it unless I'm messing around with you. Okay, like, now, if you messing with somebody who is lying and on the down low, now that's a whole nother story, and I'm sorry that you can't be with somebody who can be more open and honest. That's just the experience that I feel like people are facing. Coming out for me was not easy. I can say I was very blessed and very fortunate to be a part of a family who was very accepting and very loving, extremely understanding and positive. People are people, and my parents really get that. They had their time when they were young of the things that they've, took part in, and they know that having 8 children, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to have their struggle. Everybody's going to go through something. So understanding them, coming to understand that, me being homosexual doesn't make me less of their son or less of the great person that they raised me to be. If anything, it made me better. It gave me what my dad uses the word as a ministry, a community, that I can turn to, rely on, count on, uplift. I can be a beacon to try to shine a light on my experience, to try to lessen the hardship of others. I am glad that I was able to come out at an earlier age when I was younger and be more comfortable with exploring myself younger, because I could not imagine growing old and, potentially living a life that isn't the truth. Have a hard time of faking the funk or lying or pretending. So
fuck you mean?
I'm a Sagittarius, so mine's happened real fast. I was like, nah, we not finna keep going back and forth with this church and casting the devil out. I looked myself in the mirror and said, if this is who he made you to be, walk in it. Right. You better live your life, because at the end of the day, nobody else has to live for me. My mom is not going to take off a day of work and be like, okay, Bobby, I'll take over. You could just take today off. I'll show you how it's done, how you should know. So I'm gonna take life by the cojones, and I'm gonna run full-fledged of whatever is to happen. You know what I mean? If I would explore it even further and decide that that's not something I like, yeah, I've been women as well. I like that just the same. So I am who I am, and I'm okay with it. It's just the fact that other people have to become okay with it too. And that is not my battle, my struggle, my problem, my issue, none of that, okay? Because, yeah, we do what we want because that's what we want to do. And that's what I choose to do. That's who I choose to be. So, yeah, that is basically my story. That's what happened. It ain't that exciting. It's not that extravagant. I am blessed, to have the life that I have, and the family and friends that support me and love me and allow me to be myself. With continue to explore more of my sexuality, I started to dress in drag. At that time, I did kind of, like I said, explore whether I wanted to be a girl or not. But that was not the case. I just like dressing up. I like clothes. I like fashion. I like style. And I have so many girlfriends. There's only so much that they're going to allow me to do. And rather I continue to keep picking on them and bothering them, just create a persona. I'll be my own mannequin. I'll dress myself up. I'll be my own doll. You know what I mean? So I started to explore more of dressing in women's clothing. I appreciate my friends and my the people that were around me during that time. I do want to just send out a shout out and a nice big thank you to those people who allowed me to just be me. It was really, really cool to explore more of that side of myself. I even did my senior project about dressing in drag and understanding more of my personality, which was really cool that they allowed me to do that, and I got a grade for it. And that's what college really is for, is to try to discover who you are. And they allowed that to be an outlet for me to discover who I was. I have a link for that, by the way, so I will add that link here. I think when I was going through that phase of figuring out, my drag and everything, the people that were around me were really cool, because I gave them not an ultimatum, but I did ask them permission. Are you comfortable being seen with me like this, or are you okay with me dressing like this. And all my friends who loved me enough to tell me the truth told me, like, I don't care what you do. As long as, you know what I mean? If you consider yourself looking crazy, like, I don't think that looks crazy. I think that's whatever you want to do. Like, I don't look crazy or, you know what I mean? I don't think you look crazy. So they were very supportive. You know, I would go to the grocery store in my wigs. I would wear heels to the mall. I was just a cross-dresser. And it was really cool to be a cross-dresser for a while. In college, I would go to class sometimes in a wig, and people would be shook. And I went to a predominantly white institution, so even though I was in a white town and exploring my sexuality, exploring wearing drag and stuff like that, everything was, you know, on the up and up, in development, and I was totally okay with that. The partner I was dating at the time was cool with me wearing drag, and exploring me wearing girls' clothing, which opened up more doors to me performing on campus, to me hosting the show of the drag show, the annual drag show that was there. And then once I moved from the college town, I went to Twin Cities, and I started to explore more drag. So it just opened up a whole new world of creativity, of artistry that I always wanted to do, and was able to do it because I was able to just be comfortable in my own skin. So coming out has really shaped everything in me, and development and growth, and me being honest with myself and taking life more by the horns. You know, I have completed my college degree. I went after my passion with hair and got my cosmetology license. I was able to do drag, and then, you know, be comfortable with being who I was, you know, liking guys and liking girls, and looking myself in the mirror and being okay with who I was. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I do want to say thank you all for taking the time out to watch this video. Do subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, comment, share this video. Let me know if this is helpful, if you enjoyed it. I do want to hear more feedback. I would love to hear what you all are thinking and how you all are feeling. Thank you so much for allowing me to be me, and I hope that I am giving you 100% myself, and I will continue to try my best at staying real with Bobby B. Thanks so much for stopping by, you guys. I am your boy, Bobby